The building business. In fact, he builds the car Richard Petty drives on the Winston Cup Tour. Row 2, two-time defending national champion Jimmy Spencer in the modified ranks. Now, of course, driving in Winston Cup competition. He will be driving the car number 07, along with a young man who came from the dirt track ranks, Randy Morrison, who will start in 4th spot. Row 3, Junior Miller, who won one of the races earlier this year at Hickory Speedway. He will be starting in 5th spot, along with the two-time Bowman Gray Stadium champion, Phillip Smith. Row 4, Robert Jeffries in the car number 75, flanked by the veteran modified driver, Don Smith. Back to row 5, Bobby Hutchins, a young man who is an engineer, works for Richard Childress and likes to drive modifieds on the weekends, along with northern competitor John Bush. Row 6, the veteran Al Hill, along with another northern driver down here in a race in the south for this afternoon's event, John Preston. Back to row 7, Randy Hedger driving the car number 88, and a rookie driver, a good qualifying effort for this young man. The first time he ever came to this track was today. Rayvon Clark starting the car number 20 outside of row 7. Row 8, Billy Agee and Gary Myers. Back to row 9, James Call in the car number 21, and a young man, Lee Jeffries. He is Robert Jeffries' son, making his rookie start at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Row 10, Johnny Gregory in the car number 22, and a former Busch Series driver, now back to modified competition, Randy Butner. Row 11, Buddy Black in the car number 95, and a former winner here at North Wilkesboro Speedway, Johnny Bryant. Not a good qualifying effort for Bryant, but he will come up through the pack early on, the car number 45 of Bryant. Back in row 12, Roger Bashirs and Melvin Puddin Swisher. They call him a veteran driver from the stadium days. He will be getting in the car number 25 that was qualified by Lanny Wilkins. Well, let's check in with our pit reporter, Benny Parsons. Benny?
Jerry, in a Winston Cup or Busch Grand National race, the teams only have a choice of 2 tires to run, the right side and the left side. The compound is dictated by Goodyear, and NASCAR makes the teams run that. Today, the modified guys have 4 compounds to choose from. And if some of these teams should choose a softer compound, that's a tire that is too soft for the tremendous speeds these cars are going to be running, 130, 35 mile an hour down the straightaway, we may have tire problems. We'll check on it during the day.
Well, thank you very much, Benny Parsons. The umbrellas have been put away, and they were getting ready for racing action, open wheel action. Now, this is the only open wheel division in NASCAR. Of course, we mentioned that they have other touring series, as now the safety crews making their final scurry of the track here. They will go by and scour the inside grooves, looking for any possible debris. The cars now having their drivers buckled in, cinched in behind that Pontiac safety car. Brett, after a rain delay such as we've had today, what are the drivers thinking about? They realize that they must be a little bit careful, I guess, early on here.
Well, they're anxious to get out there on the racetrack on the pace laps and just kind of inspect the track themselves and see exactly where it still might be a little damp. As we can see there by that shot, the pit road is a little bit damp, and the very low side of the racetrack is still damp. But, you know, the racing groove here at North Wilkesboro is in the middle of the racetrack down in 1 and 2, and on the bottom in 3 and 4. So these guys are just going to be looking to where it's dry and make sure that things are all warmed up and ready to go for the start of the race.
Some brightly colored cars on hand here at North Wilkesboro Speedway. This is what they call the Southern Modified Auto Racing Teams. It's called SMART for short. It's a Southern Tour. And of course we have the Northern Tour, which we'll be seeing racing next week at Martinsville, Virginia. But we are getting ready. They're rolling the cars off for today's Lowe's 150 here at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Certainly an overcast day, but the rains have abated. The track is now dry, and the field getting ready to go to green here, getting ready for green flag action. Today's Speed World coverage here at the Lowe's 150 is brought to you by Quaker State. The big Q is One Tough Motor Oil. By Purelator, the world's largest filter company. And by Budweiser. Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. Modified cars are rolling down the back straightaway. When we come back, we'll have green flag action here for the Lowe's 150. Stay tuned for racing from North Wilkesboro. A little bit of heat in the tires, weaving back and forth on the racetrack behind that Pontiac safety car, as they're trying to possibly make sure that the steering mechanism works okay. It's a little bit different steering that these cars will use than what we're seeing in Winston Cup cars.
That's right. Modified racing, we use rack and pinion steerings, more similar to what the newer cars of today have in them, and it makes for very fast steering. These cars steer extremely quick, and that was one of the big changeovers I had to get used to in Winston Cup racing. To a little bit slower steering that we have in the Winston Cup cars, it made it difficult for me to get used to that. We see Johnny Bryant, little problem on the front pit area. He's joining the field now, going up the backstretch. He's going to get caught up.
Johnny Bryant, one of the former winners here at the Wilkesboro Speedway, won his race back in October of '88. A veteran driver is Johnny Bryant, and certainly he would like to. Did not have a good qualifying effort. A lot of the drivers, in fact the entire field, came to the track early this morning, so they've only had a few hours to get the cars dialed in and get ready to go racing. We're going green here momentarily as Johnny Bryant's car again makes a quick entry on the pit road, but the pace car has extinguished those lights on top, and it will be making that left-hand turn down pit road. 150 laps here for the Lowe's 150 at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Remember, these speeds some 8 miles an hour quicker than the Winston Cup cars. They are literally pocket rockets at around 2,600 pounds. Coming out of turn 4 for the green flag is waved, and Billy Middleton will lead the charge in turn 1.
Jay Hedgecock got a great jump on the start. Looks like he's going to take the lead going up the back straightaway over Billy Middleton.
Jay Hedgecock now a 2-car length separation. Now the car number 19 of Randy Morrison, that's on the outside. 19, that day glow green. And now Billy Middleton settling back in with the battle back there, the 0-7. That's Jimmy Spencer now trying to make a move. Spencer, of course, the 2-time national modified champion. He makes the move coming out of turn 4 and will take the 3rd spot away from Morrison.
Randy Morrison got a little sideways going down into turn 3, and Spencer was right there to take the spot away.
Randy Morrison told me before today's race that he had a little trouble getting his car dialed in with the new rules they have for the modified division this year. They have narrowed the cars up a little bit, and he can't quite get his car dialed in.
Jay Hedgecock leading him down into turn 1, but you'll notice Billy Middleton close up right in the middle of the corner. His car looking real good right in the center of the corner. I think he's going to be a threat all day here at North Wilkesboro.
These cars have thus far run twice this year. They ran at Hickory Speedway, where Hedgecock and Middleton, the front 2 cars you see right there, were the ones who were dominant for about 120 laps, where they were involved in a spin with a slower car. And a couple of cars dicing it up back there. It's Bobby Hutchins in the car number 15. Car number 72 back there is John Preston. He's one of the northern drivers.
Yeah, Hutchins is caught up on the outside lane. Preston trying to get by him on the low side. Bobby Hutchins a little sideways coming off the 4th turn. Looks like his car's not really hooked up that well today.
Now, Bobby Hutchins is a mechanical engineering graduate of North Carolina State University, and he works as a mechanical engineer for the Richard Childress racing team, of course, that fields the car for Dale Earnhardt. He would like himself to be a driver someday, and he's certainly been very competitive over the years. Has a 2nd place finish to his credit here at North Wilkesboro a couple of years ago. Hutchins, of course, driving that car number 15 on the right of your screen.
Preston a little sideways there in the middle of 3 and 4. We've seen a couple cars having trouble down there in that part of the racetrack. Maybe the track just hasn't quite got a groove wore in yet.
Hutchins having his trouble, but up front, leaders now, that's the front 3 cars, and it looks like Spencer beginning to work over Middleton a little bit.
Jimmy Spencer's reeled in those front 2, and he's looking to make a move on Billy Middleton. I think Jimmy Spencer wants to lead this race pretty bad. He's pressing him pretty hard going up the back straightaway.
Jimmy Spencer, the defending champion of the Lowe's 150, now looks to the inside. Remember, that is Johnny Bryant's slow car, and Spencer will have to jump on the brakes because he cannot have room to pass. He will have to fall back in line behind Middleton. He had the pass made, Fred.
He made the right move, thought maybe he could get a little bit of a pick off of the slower car of Johnny Bryant, but Middleton held his ground and kept Spencer behind him.
A brand new race car for Jimmy Spencer here. That's the car that's owned by Wayne Speedy Thomas, a man who fielded modified cars for many years for the veteran Satch Worley. Satch Worley has won here 8 times, and so certainly no stranger to getting a car set up here. Worley has moved on to drive the Northern Modified Tour for car owner Bob Garbarino.
Yes, he's been very successful in that ride this year, and that team's really turning around for Satch and Bob Garbarino, the Mystic Missile.
Unlike what we've seen in Wilkesboro over the past couple of years with the Winston Cup cars who tend to bump and run, you really can't do that with these modified guys.
Well, you can't do it side to side, but you know, they've got those front bumpers and rear bumpers pretty beefed up. And as we saw Jimmy Spencer, he just laid a little bit of iron on Billy Middleton coming up out of the 2nd turn, just to kind of say, like, hey, man, you're holding me up. I got to go.
Jimmy wouldn't do that, would he?
Oh, yeah. Jimmy's been known for that bump and run technique, and he's a master of it here in the modified division.
They called him Mr. Excitement for many, many years. Berwick, Pennsylvania's Jimmy Spencer. And, of course, Jimmy was always exciting to watch. And you race with some of these guys. Is that an accepted tactic, I guess, in modified racing? Because you don't have the fenders, you can lay a little bit of grill to them?
Well, that's exactly right. That's how you kind of let the guy know that he's either holding you up or you didn't like what he maybe chopped you off in the corner. And as we see Jimmy Spencer really pressuring Billy Middleton. Middleton has lost the ground to Jay Hedgecock, and he is definitely holding Spencer up right now.
There was a lot of concern out of the Billy Middleton pits this morning that they may not have the tires they want. They hear Penny Parsons talking about the selections they had from Goodyear to choose the soft versus the hard compounds. Middleton obviously not up to speed and holding Jimmy Spencer up as Jay Hedgecock pulls away. We are in the early laps here at the Lowe's 150 at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Jay Hedgecock is the leader. The battle for second spot heating up as Billy Middleton holds off the likes of Jimmy Spencer. Stay tuned. We'll be back. Hedgecock showing the way in his Chevrolet Cavalier. Hedgecock the leader, 35-year-old driver, having run well here in the past. And in second spot, that is Jimmy Spencer, having now made the pass and disposed of Billy Middleton. We'll show you how he was able to get by. Now, heavy traffic. The Middleton in the car number 46 going into turn 3. Spencer a little deeper in the throttle in turn 3 there, Brett.
It looked like Billy Middleton was really protecting that inside groove. Moved over, and Spencer saw the spot and went ahead and drove it in on the outside and made the pass.
Good battle. One car now having spun up in turn 4. One car looping around in turn 4. Car number 22 now having spun up there. That is Johnny Gregory. Gregory's car now being fired as we are under caution here at Wilkesboro Speedway. Caution flag waving. Gregory just getting the car halted up there before he came into contact with that end of the pit wall. He missed the end of the pit wall and has the car fired and pulled back on pit road. Lap number 24. Now, Billy Middleton's car did not seem to be running nearly as well as he would like to have it early on here as he was disposed of by Spencer. Let's find out if anything's going on with Middleton's car. Benny Parsons?
Jerry Punch, I'm down with Cecil Plowman, the crew chief on Billy's car. What seems to be the problem, Cecil?
Well, you're saying right now that the car just a little bit loose, but I think the car will come around before the race is over.
Do you think maybe he chose the wrong tires to begin with? Is he taking it easy on the tires, or is that any concern at all?
Well, we told him, you can't win the race the first 50 laps, so we're going to take it easy right now.
They seem to think everything is okay down in the Billy Middleton pit.
Now, Brett, some of these guys have, there's Billy Middleton's car, the car number 46. Some of the guys were saying that they had chosen the hard compound and felt that maybe it was going to be a tortoise and the hare deal. They were going to be slower early on, but they could make it without a pit stop.
Well, that's very possible. Maybe Billy Middleton is really running a smart race, taking it easy. Knew that Jimmy Spencer was pressuring him pretty hard to get by. Just said, go ahead, Jimmy, have at the leader. Maybe he can wear both of you out, and I'll just sit here in third and take it easy.
I think Hedgecock and Spencer are thinking about making a pit stop. Middleton may not. We'll see if the strategy will work when we come back with more action. Indicating next time by will be under green flag. Still under caution here for the first time this afternoon. The spin up in turn 4 of the car number 22 of Johnny Gregory. A number of cars have made quick entries on the pit road, Brett, and some of them are changing tires.
Well, Jerry, maybe we're seeing a switch from the hard tires to the softer tires. Maybe the guys that we were watching that were awful squirrely in the middle of the corner have decided maybe we should go ahead and just put the soft tires on and hope they last for the end of the day.
Double file restart. Pontiac pace car makes the entry onto pit road, and Jay Hedgecock will make the move. Faster cars on the inside, the slower lap cars up high. We're back in the green flag racing here at the Wilkesboro Speedway. Hedgecock now trying to pull back away. He had about an 8 or 9 car length advantage, but that caution flag obliterated that. And now Jimmy Spencer now pulling within a car length of Hedgecock in turn 4.
Jay running it down in the corner. Jimmy not able to hold it on the low side. He lost a little ground to Jay coming up out of 4.
Hedgecock's car dialed in right on the bottom of the racetrack. Spencer really getting off turn 2.
As they go down into 3, Billy Middleton now looking like he's a little stronger on the restart. Possibly he decides to pick up the pace and just see what he's got compared to these other guys.
Well, we thought possibly that Hedgecock and Jimmy Spencer would run the cars hard and make a tire change. We'll see what the strategy actually will be. Benny Parsons is standing by in the Hedgecock pit. Benny?
Jerry, I'm with Ross Priesinger, the crew chief on Jay's car. Are you going to stop for tires, Ross?
Not unless we have a problem.
Did you choose a hard tire, softer tire, or something in the middle?
It's a hard tire.
You do have the hard tire on.
Right.
Probably no problem here with the tires, Jerry.
Well, thank you, Benny. If he's running that well on the hard tire, then he certainly is going to be a force to contend with all that time.
This car's looking real good around this racetrack. If he is running the hard tires, like they said, he's got a car that's handling extremely well.
A couple of cars battling. John Bush A couple of Northern drivers, John Bush in the car number 68, the blue and silver numeral car. That is for the 7th spot. And the car number 72 now pulling inside. He is slammed by a slower car, so he'll have to fall back in line, and Bush will take over the 7th spot.
Randy Hedger got around on the outside also, and he's starting to pressure Bush. A great race for that position right there.
Johnny Bush, who is a regular at Riverhead Speedway, coming down here, 35-year-old driver, who's a crew member on the Whitcomb racing team in the Winston Cup ranks on an off basis, and now they're really shuffling the deck there.
Randy Hedger driving up on the outside of Bush down into the first turn. Looks like he's got a car that's working extremely well in that outside lane. Made the pass pretty easy.
Randy Hedger now trying to make a move. And here's the battle back once again. That is John Preston in the car number 72 trying to make the high side move around Bush. Preston from Wyalusing, Pennsylvania, who normally runs up at Shangri-La Speedway in Oswego, New York.
Those three guys right there probably have raced against each other several times, all from the Northeast, and putting on a great show here at North Wilkesboro.
Now the yellow car coming into your screen on the right side, that is Don Smith, the yellow car with the number 31 on the side. You see him coming down now. Now he made a pit stop a moment ago, and apparently he has put some fresh rubber on that car, and he is really flying.
He's coming up through the field extremely well, working the low side of the racetrack now under Bush, and trying to get back up into contention.
Back up front, a change for the lead now as Spencer has made a move inside of Hedgecock, and Hedgecock's trying to take it back, but Spencer will have the inside groove, and Hedgecock will take better of it and runs that left front tire across some of the curbing up there.
It looked like Jay went down in the first turn and got caught on some slower traffic, and Jimmy was able to get underneath him.
Let's take a look here. Now Hedgecock going way high in turn one because a slow car up in front of him. That was the Gregory car. Hedgecock had to go wide, and Spencer makes the inside move, takes the lead.
Jimmy was really on his toes to see that happening ahead of time and dove to the inside and got the spot. Jimmy Spencer's starting to fight the car just a little bit up off the corner. I think Jay Hedgecock realizes he's probably got a better car. He'll just sit here a while and try to wear Jimmy down.
Now Jay Hedgecock has the proven race car, the driver of the car number 41. It's the same car he won with a couple of weeks ago, in fact last Friday up at Tri-County Speedway. Battle heating up back in the pack. Car number 19, Randy Morrison. Now he made a pit stop, as did the car number 4, Gary Myers. That is Morrison in the 19, the 4 is Myers, and the 15 is Bobby Hutchins. They are battling for the 12th spot. 19 car would be in the 12th spot. The 4 car of Myers is 13th, and Hutchins would be in the 14th spot. Those are the last 3 cars on the lead lap.
Notice those cars all running in the high lane, and they're not able to get the cars to stick on the bottom down there in 3 and 4. And that's the sign that they just can't quite get a hold of the racetrack like they'd like to. You know, they're opening that inside lane up if somebody could drive under them. It looks like Gary Myers has got that thought in mind right now coming up off the 4th turn.
Gary Myers, a veteran modified driver, 40 years of age. His Chevrolet Beretta now moves to the inside of Randy Morrison, will take over that spot. Myers takes the 12th spot. Those guys now making their way back to the front. Let's check back up front and see, again, Hedgecock still about a car length and a half behind Jimmy Spencer. You mentioned Spencer's car not handling quite as well as it was early on. He is still hugging that bottom group.
He's still able to run right on the bottom, but Jay is able to close up a little bit in the corner. We're seeing a little bit of smoke out of Hedgecock's car now. Looks like trouble.
A lot of smoke now coming out of the car number 41 of Jay Hedgecock. A plume of smoke now, and that's certainly not what they wanted to see. The car had run so well, and now it's getting heavier and heavier, and Hedgecock is off the pace. We'll pull the car down to the inside as the field now going by. A tough break for the 35-year-old driver from High Point, North Carolina.
They really had that car hooked up today. It's a shame to see Jay have this kind of problem. It's been a long time since Jay's run up front consistently here in North Wilkesboro. It looks like he had the car to do it today.
Lap 46, and Jay Hedgecock says so long to what would have been a great run for him here today at the Wilkesboro Speedway. We mentioned that Jimmy Spencer's car not handling quite as well. The people who built that car, the man who runs the operation, Wayne Speedy Thomas, standing by with our Benny Parsons. Benny?
Wayne, things are looking pretty good right now, aren't they? Things are looking pretty good now, aren't they, Wayne?
Well, right at the present, we run just a little tight. But if the track changes, we might get better.
Let me ask you, did you choose a hard tire or softer tire at the beginning of the race?
I use the soft tire.
Soft tire. You think they'll last okay?
Well, it had mighty good wear this morning.
Okay, here's the guy that's chosen the soft tire. Let's see if they're good for 150 laps.
Well, they're going to try it, and certainly he is running so well now, he may be able to lap the field and not have to worry about it. Jimmy Spencer showing the way here early on in the Lowe's 150. Stay tuned. Spencer followed by Middleton and Phillip Smith. We'll be back. Just passing because Hedgecock now sits behind pit wall with our Benny Parsons.
Jay, what happened to the car?
It looks like something happened to the Wilson M Pontiac. I don't know, to the engine, you know. It kind of seemed like a piston, you know. The thing blew a lot of smoke out the breathers. It didn't skip, but I cut it off as soon as the smoke poured out the breathers. So, yeah, I figure it's terminal.
Were you really pushing the car or just kind of taking it easy?
No, you know, when I was leading the race, you know, I was just being consistent, you know, trying to save the tires. I was going to try to not pit. And then a lap car kind of got in the way, and Spencer got underneath me, so then I said, well, I'll just follow him. You know, and then I was just riding along, and next thing I knew, it blew up.
See, it just goes to show you can't back off this finish. You got to run wide open all the time. Back to you, Jerry.
Well, the battle heating up there. That's the battle for third spot. Junior Miller in the car number 69, the Dayglow orange and white numeral car. And he's being pressured now by Robert Jeffries, car number 75.
That's been a great battle for the last several laps. Robert Jeffries trying everything to get around Junior Miller. I think he's got a little bit better car than Junior in the corner, but can't quite get around him. As we see Junior slip a little bit off of 4, maybe Jeffries can get him coming out of that corner the next time by.
Junior Miller won the opening event for the Southern Auto Racing drivers a few weeks ago at Hickory Speedway, and he is now trying to hold off Jeffries. Slower traffic now, a little bit of a problem.
Jeffries can't seem to get around that lap traffic as well as Junior Miller on the high lane. Evidently his car just not working quite as good in that second lane, but in clear traffic he definitely is better than Miller and has chased him down several occasions.
Junior Miller has run Busch Grand National competition in the past, has also run some Winston Cup races early in his career, and certainly a veteran modified campaigner. Holding about 2 car length separation, and really Jeffries' car really bobbing and weaving coming off the corner. Another battle back in the pack. Car number 72, the battle for 7th and 8th spot. Car number 72, that's Preston.
John Preston and Don Smith, a great battle. And here's the leader trying to get by him to put him a lap down.
He goes by the 8th place car of Don Smith, and now we'll move in on Preston. Literally, you see how quickly Jimmy Spencer is running here. Brand new race car. Certainly, you got to give a call to the man you saw Benny Parsons talk to a minute ago, Wayne Speedy Thomas. He and his son Talmadge Thomas, Billy Hilton, built that brand new car, the 07 that Spencer is driving. They weren't really sure how well the car would perform fresh out of the box, but I think they found out in a hurry.
Jimmy Spencer leading this race quite easily, but I'm going to give a call again to Billy Middleton. He's laid back about a quarter of a straightaway from Jimmy Spencer and has not lost any more ground to him since about 10 laps into this run. And I think Billy Middleton is running a very smart race. I think he's trying to save his car, so he'll have something to run at Spencer at the end.
Jimmy Spencer showing the way. He has just moved by those 2 cars, which were in the lead lap, and now there are only 6 cars in the lead lap. Spencer the leader, Billy Middleton running in 2nd spot. Veteran driver of 14 years in modified competition is Billy Middleton. There's the Spencer car, the Hayes Jewelers Chevrolet Cavalier.
And again, we see Robert Jeffries all over Junior Miller trying to get by. Just quite can't get enough run on him to get by him. That's a battle for 4th and 5th.
Robert Jeffries seems to have a whole lot of power on the straightaways, but Miller really gets him in the corner. Jeffries can't get the car off the corners, although he comes pretty well off of turn 4.
He's really working well on the low side off of 4, and that's where Junior Miller seems to be having his trouble. I think if he's going to make a pass, he's got to set him up coming up out of the 4th turn and try to get by him going down into turn 1.
And that time, Robert Jeffries did get that run you were talking about, Brett, out of turn 2. He came off of turn 2 very well, and now brings the car up about a half a car length to follow Junior Miller, setting him up for a possible move.
He's tried everything. I'll tell you, the last several laps, he's really worked him over, but Jeffries just doesn't quite have enough to get by.
Robert Jeffries, who ran so well here last spring, he was one of the cars that gave Jimmy Spencer a fit here when Spencer went on to win this race. Veteran driver Robert Jeffries in the car number 75, 46 years of age. Chasing another veteran now on the inside, but he can't quite get that rear tire to stick coming off the corner.
We see Jimmy Spencer getting ready to, and does make a pass on Randy Hedger. That's the 6th place car. He's putting a lap down. So Jimmy Spencer really running his way through this field. He's just awesome today as far as the car and everything. And just hopefully his tires will last and he can go ahead and continue this pace. I don't know if that's possible if he is running the soft tires.
Jimmy Spencer showing the way there in the battle now, really heating up there as Jeffries on the inside, but lap traffic just in front of him down in turn 1. Up high is Junior Miller, and Jeffries will, yes, be able to hang on to the spot, and Jeffries will take the 4th spot. Well,
Junior Miller, he's battling back. He did get by him going down in the 3rd turn. I thought that lap traffic might pose a problem.
There you go by the car number 19 of Randy Morrison, and now Jeffries has taken over that 4th spot and will set his sights on the car number 1, currently running in 3rd spot.
You see Jeffries working around some lap traffic going down in the 3rd turn, and just in this picture now is number 1 Phillip Smith. He's 3rd place runner, and Jeffries is definitely reeling him in.
Phillip Smith, who won the modified race here last fall, back in September, 150 lapper, 2-time Bowman Gray Stadium champion, and most of these drivers run the stadium. It's a quarter mile, probably the longest continuously sanctioned NASCAR event or track actually in NASCAR competition. 43 years they've been in operation down at Eloise Hawkins Fine facility there in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And there's the 2-time the stadium champion, car number 1, Phillip Smith, 45-year-old driver, and now Jeffries really closing on him. Heavy traffic up front now for our leaders. Let's check in on the pits with Benny Parsons.
A little bit ago, I called him Cecil Plowman, the crew chief on Billy Middleton's car. It's Cecil Duggins is the crew chief. And I asked him, is he gaining or is Jimmy Spencer gaining? Right now, it is dead even. It's about a 3-second gap. Billy Middleton will gain a 10th one lap. Jimmy Spencer will gain it back the next lap. And as Harold Kenner gives them halfway, who knows who's going to make the best selection on tires, whether it's going to be Billy Middleton or the Jimmy Spencer automobile.
Benny, it may all be academic if Spencer continues to pick him off the way he's doing. He's just gone by that car, Junior Miller, who was the 5th place car, and trying to move in on the 4th place car, Robert Jeffries. Heavy traffic behind Spencer, but Jimmy Spencer having it all go his way in a brand new race car. Car number 07 for Jimmy Spencer here.
Spencer has now put the 5th place car 1 lap down. That's the 5th place car of Junior Miller, and setting his sights on the 3rd and 4th place cars, which is a tremendous battle between Robert Jeffries and Phillip Smith.
We are just past the halfway point here in the Wilkesboro Speedway in the Lowe's 150. Jimmy Spencer showing the way as you look at the top 10 and some very excited fans. Stay tuned. We'll be back. Preston. And Brett Modans will take a look at Jimmy Spencer, our leader. Now, pulling those roofs off, that would help in a couple of ways. Obviously, if there were an accident, that would help, but also it's hard to get in and out of these things.
Well, it really is, Jerry. These cars are very small, but, you know, as we saw that the body panels are very flimsy, very light, and removable. That's what keeps these cars so light. Weight is a very key part of modified racing, making sure you've got your car light enough that you can put lead ballast in the right areas in the car to make a handle right. And as we see, Jimmy Spencer must have his balance right because he's just dominating this race tremendously.
Let's check in the interval between Spencer and, whoa, the car slipping a little bit for Spencer, between Spencer and the 2nd place car of Billy Middleton. Now, Spencer's car running flawlessly here in the brand new car, the Hayes Jewelers Pontiacs, out of the Speedy Thomas stable. He will come out of turn 4, and we will try to check an interval here between that car and the red and white numeral car number 46 of Billy Middleton. Interval there is the Middleton car as he comes by. About 4.5 seconds separating those front 2 cars. Middleton's car with the hard tires now sort of holding its own now.
Well, you know, Billy's trying to run a smart race, I believe, and he's just not going to pressure the car. But it's getting time now where, you know, we haven't had any cautions in a long time. It looks like the race might run for a good bit of time without any yellows. He needs to start pressing the car a little bit and see if he can reel in Jimmy Spencer.
Is Spencer possibly making a mistake by pushing that car? He goes by the car number 1. Again, we'll check the interval. That's Phillip Smith, the 4th place car he just passed. We'll check the interval between him and Billy Middleton, and it's 4.4 seconds. Middleton just taking his time, biding his time, sort of like the tortoise here, with Spencer being the hare. Now, should Spencer know that he's got a pretty good lead here on this field? Should he back off and save those tires?
Well, I think Jimmy Spencer's got enough miles in a modified car that he knows if he's pushing his car, if he's abusing the tires or not. I do believe I do believe that Jimmy just, you know, is trying to run the race that his car is capable of. But as we saw, Billy Middleton is closing in ever so slightly on Jimmy Spencer, the leader. Maybe
heavy traffic now for Spencer. That's the John Preston car, number 72, as he came by. It was 4.2 seconds a moment ago. Now it's 3.8, and Middleton is indeed catching Jimmy Spencer. Now, Spencer's car had been slipping and sliding a little bit. He'd also been using up the car to work over traffic. It had gone 4.4, 4.2, now 3.8 seconds, and we'll see as they come by this time. Middleton now, car slipping a little bit coming out of turn 4. It is again 3.8, but Middleton had to go around some lap traffic that time by, so he did not get to move in like he would like to. Let's check in maybe out on the pit and see exactly how the tire wear is going. Benny Parsons?
Jerry Bunch, I really don't have a story on tire wear because Bobby Hudson stopped just a moment ago and changed the rear tires on his automobile. The tire wear was fine, but look what happened. The lug nuts were loose on the right rear wheel, and you can see where the shiny spots where the wheel was wobbling or vibrating. We can see the metal on the tire, on the wheel here where it came off the studs. He had a terrible vibration, and luckily he chose to make a pit stop because in a few laps this tire would have left the race car.
Certainly that could be a hazardous situation for a driver in one of these modified cars.
Oh, it certainly would be. There's no doubt that that tire was vibrating quite severely, and Bobby did the right thing. He came down pit road, got him a new tire and wheel, and got it tightened up properly. Right there we see Jimmy Spencer leading the race in our fourth place car, Phillip Smith, hanging right on to Jimmy Spencer. Spencer had pulled away a little bit from him, and now Smith is reeling back in, trying to get his lap back.
Well, you got to wonder, remember Wayne Speedy Thomas told Benny Parsons that they did not plan to make a pit stop unless they had to. Well, Billy Middleton is starting to catch the leader, and Spencer is no longer the rocket he was early on. In fact, Phillip Smith, the car he had passed a minute ago, is now staying pretty close to him. Last car on the lead lap is a Robert Jeffries car. That's the car you're looking at right now. Jeffries currently being shown in third spot. Robert Jeffries starting back in the pack and made an early stop, came up through and masterfully working lap traffic. And that's the car that Jimmy Spencer is trying to catch. There is Spencer, the leader, some 3 or 4 seconds behind the third place cars. He's trying to put those cars a lap down. 50 laps to go, 100 laps complete here at the Wilkesboro Speedway in the Lowe's 150.
Phillip Smith hanging right on to Jimmy Spencer. I know he'd really like to get back around Jimmy in case a yellow flag could come out and get back on the lead lap and get in contention for this win.
Now, what do you think? There aren't that many laps now. One thing that's changed this year that may allow him to make a pit stop and not be hurt that much is they're allowing double file restarts now for the modified cars here in the Wilkesboro, where in the past there was a single file restart.
Exactly. Very similar to Winston Cup racing. The lap cars are forced to go on the outside lane and the lead lap cars on the inside. So if there was a yellow flag, the lead lap cars could close right up on one another and make for great racing. As we see the interval, 4.2 seconds. Billy Middleton just hanging on to Jimmy Spencer's pace. I don't think he can quite close the gap like he'd like to.
Let's take a look one more time. It looks like Middleton's car was getting to skate a little bit too. There was the Pontiac of Jimmy Spencer. Here's the Chevrolet of Billy Middleton, and he is losing ground now to Jimmy Spencer. Apparently they have radioed to Spencer and said, hey, he's catching it a little bit, and Jimmy has widened it back out over 4 seconds. Jimmy Spencer showing the way here. Just under 50 laps to go in the Wilkesboro Speedway. Car number 07, the Hayes Jewelers Pontiac, showing the way. A great day for Jimmy Spencer and a good day for modified racing. We'll be back after this. This car he had here, and he's certainly no stranger to victory lane here at North Wilkesboro.
Phil Smith really knows how to get around North Wilkesboro, and he's putting all kinds of pressure on Jimmy Spencer. Spencer runs up on some lap traffic. Maybe Phillip can do something with him here coming off the 4th turn. Spencer, the last couple laps, has been a little wiggly up out of the corner, and I think maybe the handling's going away with just under 40 laps to go.
Jimmy Spencer trying to hang on. Now, he has a pretty good lead over the second place car, over 4 seconds. Let's check it again and see exactly the differential between him and Billy Middleton as Phillip Smith now moves to the outside and is going to try to get around him. We'll see with that interval as they come out of turn 4. Car bobbing a little bit, and there's the red car, the Chevrolet of Middleton. It is down to 3.1 seconds. The question is, would Middleton have enough time now? Less than 40 laps to go here in the Lowe's 150.
Spencer drives down in the 3rd turn, and as we've seen the last couple laps up out of here, Phillip Smith has ideas of getting around the leader to get his lap back.
Checking the interval one more time, and we'll see. Pretty much constant at 3.1 seconds. And really, I think lap traffic could decide it. If Spencer could get boxed in a little bit and Middleton could catch him, it could make a difference. Of course, catching him is one thing and passing him is something else, and Phillip Smith is going to try to pass him and get his lap back. That should make a difference now in the interval. It does, 2.7 seconds.
Junior Miller making a move on the inside of Billy Middleton also, as we see Phillip Smith inching by the leader going down to the third turn. He's got his lap back.
Now if they get a caution flag, Phillip Smith will be able to move around and have a shot at getting a win here, but Spencer trying to stay glued, and Spencer's car really shuffling up in the corner.
Really sideways getting down in that first turn. Exactly. I believe that Spencer's tires are really starting to go away now. As we thought at the beginning of the show, late stages of the races where the soft tires would start to fall off, and we're seeing it here on Spencer's car.
Well, if you have to have anybody in a race car with worn-out tires and late in the race, you can't have any more experienced driver than Jungle Jim Spencer, the man they call Mr. Excitement, a two-time national champion formerly for the modified Winston Tour out of Berwick, Pennsylvania, and the car really skipping now out of turn 4.
It really is. But, you know, at the same time as Spencer's tires are going away, it looks like Billy Middleton has lost some ground, too, because we've seen Junior Miller and Gary Myers both get around the second place car, and they're chasing down Jimmy Spencer also. It looks like they're going to get their laps back.
It may all come down to the driver's skill. Let's check in to see what the strategy will be in the waning laps here in the Jimmy Spencer pits. Benny Parsons.
Speedy, do you have a problem?
He ain't said.
You don't seem to have a problem?
He hasn't said anything. He hasn't said anything.
We're down near turn 4 and we just cannot hear each other, Jerry Parsons. They're making some hand gestures to a guy back in the back of the pits. Now, whether or not they got a problem on, I can't hear him to find out.
Well, you can actually see Benny Parsons from up here. You can see inside the race car, and you see Spencer really working that steering wheel in the car. That's not what you would normally want to see on a smooth lap at Wilkesboro.
No, not at all. And as we spoke earlier, Junior Miller and Gary Myers both are right up on Jimmy Spencer now, looking to get their laps back. Spencer is really loose in the middle of 1 and 2. Miller looks to the inside going into the third turn.
Junior Miller is the 5th place car. Now, he is a lap down, as is the car number 4 of Myers. Miller is the Dayglow orange car, number 69. Myers, the blue and sort of chartreuse-colored car number 4. Those are the 5th and 6th place cars trying now to get around the leader and get their lap back, and they would also like to have a caution flag. It looks like Spencer has to almost completely stop that car in the corner and then get back on the throttle very easily.
Looks like everybody's fighting their cars pretty hard. Junior Miller really working hard to get around Jimmy Spencer to get back on that lead lap just in case there should have... Whoa, real close action there as Spencer got pinned behind the lap car.
Very close, and that can happen easily in modified racing. You have everything going your way, I guess, and then suddenly with the open wheels here, you can really get contacted by a slower car.
That's exactly right. You know, these cars are everybody's starting to slip and slide. They've had a long run on the green flag, and the tires are starting to really start to wear and go away, and we're seeing cars acting very strangely.
And Myers has gone by, as has Junior Miller, and Jimmy Spencer just trying to hang on and call on all that skill, all those years of driving the modified cars. Can Spencer hang on? Well, the fans are going to wait to see. Stay tuned. We'll be back with the car, the rear of the car, bobbing and weaving coming out of the corner, and Billy Middleton is running him down. Middleton in the red car, number 46, literally is catching him almost a second a lap now in the past couple laps. And there's one car that's moving in on both of them is the Robert Jeffries car, number 75. Jeffries still in the lead lap. He's been biding his time, and now he has pulled in on the second place car of Billy Middleton as they exit turn 4.
There's no doubt, Jerry, that Robert Jeffries is the strongest car on the racetrack right now, but is there enough time for him to get around Billy Middleton and chase down Jimmy Spencer? With just under 20 laps to go, I don't know if there's enough time for him to do it.
Pair of veteran drivers, 46-year-old Robert Jeffries now tries to make a move inside the 44-year-old veteran of 14 years of modified driving, Billy Middleton. And Jeffries' car also slipping and sliding a little bit. He tries to make the move in turn 1, and Middleton will slam the door. They both slide up to the middle groove out of turns 1 and 2. These two guys now dicing. That's what Spencer wanted to see. He wants these guys have to deal with each other, so it gives him a few more laps to be able to get a chance to pick up the victory.
Lap traffic is awful heavy right now for both the leader and your second and third place cars, and it's holding them up and not allowing Jeffries to get a clean run on Middleton.
Meanwhile, there is Jimmy Spencer back up front, and he is, slides up and just tags Bobby Hutchins a little bit. Hutchins maintains control of his car. Hutchins has come in and changed tires, as Spencer's car slipping and sliding, and they are running literally wheel to wheel.
Jimmy Spencer's car is so loose, it was actually loose up in the middle of the back straightaway. Now that's a loose race car when you're braking traction halfway up the backstretch.
Unbelievable he can handle this car at all. And the car is loose when it's pointed straight ahead.
Jeffries made a pass on Billy Middleton going down into 3, and he is all over the back bumper of Jimmy Spencer coming down the front straightaway. I think he's going to be able to get around him. Spencer's car has just gone all to pieces here in the last couple laps.
Jeffries jumps in the throttle out of turn 2, but he's got to be a little more patient. There's lap traffic on the inside. He'll have a few laps left to make his move. Less than 15 laps to go. Spencer in the 07 is the leader, the car number 75. Robert Jeffries, 46-year-old driver from Walberg, North Carolina, the Phoenix Packaging Chevrolet. Now trying to bide his time and just be patient. Middleton sitting there watching these two battle it out.
Billy Middleton's probably got in his mind if those two could come together. Oh, Jeffrey runs up on the curb going into 3. Tried to make a move on Spencer going in there. Jimmy shut the door on him and forced him to run up over the curb. Jeffries has definitely got a better car. He's just got to, like you say, take his time and pick his spot to make a move on Jimmy Spencer for the lead.
Robert Jeffries now waiting to get some clean racetrack. He has to be careful. He's got some worn tires also. Spencer now being very smart and using the lap traffic now coming out of turn 4, so Jeffries can't get a good run at him.
Exactly. Jimmy running side by side with the 72 car down into the first turn. Jeffries slid up a little bit and lost some ground, but he'll be right back on Jimmy by the time they get to the third turn.
Now they've got some clean racetrack, and we'll see if Robert Jeffries can handle him. And Spencer pulls to the very inside groove, and Jeffries will do it the hard way, up high out of turn 4. The drag race down across the stripe, and Jeffries will have him by a half a car length in turn 1. Robert Jeffries makes the pass.
Spencer's tires have just gone away. The back tires are simply wore out on the 07, and the 75 car has made a great pass going into the lead, getting by Jimmy Spencer with 10 laps to go.
Robert Jeffries, who won last year on a modified race up at Virginia Beach, Virginia, would certainly like this will be the biggest win of his career if he can hang on. Let's check into the pits with Benny Parsons.
Jerry Bunch, I talked to him earlier, I talked to Sweetie Thomas, and asked him if he chose the hard tires or the soft tires. He said the soft tires, thought they would make it. A little bit a moment ago when Jimmy Spencer slowed down, they threw a right rear tire up on pit wall. You know, I really couldn't hear Sweetie Thomas to find out what was wrong with the car, but evidently the tires were a little bit too soft and they've gone away. And he's back to second spot now. And Billy Middleton trying to get him going down in turn 1 for that second spot.
That's the tire that they wish they had been able to put on the 07, and possibly he would not be running in second spot right now. Battle for second spot now. It's Middleton closing in on the car that's so ill handling for Jimmy Spencer. Billy Middleton now will try to move around Spencer, and it looks like he does it with ease down in turn 1.
Billy Middleton gets around the outside of Jimmy going into the first turn and just powers by him up the back straightaway. Spencer just can't get in the throttle. The car is just so loose. No traction off the back tires, and Middleton just outpowered him up the back straightaway.
Has to be a helpless feeling for Jimmy Spencer, the man with probably more modified experience than anyone else on the Speedway, having run so well for so many years up in the Northern Tour. Laps now winding down, 5 laps to go. Spencer now having slid back into third spot. 4 fingers now being shown to the leader, Robert Jeffries. Robert Jeffries, 2-time most popular driver by vote of the other competitors in the Southern Modified Auto Racing Team's tour here in the South. Hoping to hang on, a veteran driver from Bowman Gray Stadium. There is Robert Jeffries, 4 feature wins over the years, many top 5 finishes to his credit. Robert Jeffries, who won the very first sanctioned SMART race, they call it, Southern Modified Racing Tour effort up in Langley, Virginia last year. Finished 4th in the points overall last year. And now the battle heats up back there. Junior Miller in the car number 69.
As for 5th spot, Gary, is Gary Myers is right on the back bumper of Junior Miller, trying to get by him here in the late stages of the race.
Everyone now trying to gain a position. Laps now winding down. Robert Jeffries now will come out of turn 4 and get the white flag as that battle there for Junior Miller and Myers. There is the white flag having been displayed for Robert Jeffries, car number 75. 46-year-old driver from North Carolina. out in Walburn, North Carolina, takes the Phoenix Packaging Chevrolet out of turn 4, slips a little bit, and takes a checkered flag. Takes the win of the one car. Billy Middleton's car has spun over in turn 2 on the white flag lap.
Here's the battle.
Battle back in the pack, and that's the battle. Junior Miller now. The checkered flag and the yellow flag, caution flag being given as Middleton's car has come to rest out of turn 2 and it is stalled there. You see the right rear tire is down on the Middleton car. Certainly the tires had done their job for 150 laps, and there's the man that will go to victory lane when we come back after this. Robert Jeffries winning the Lowe's 150 on outstanding effort. Stay tuned. Parsons